Welcome back, everyone. Tonight we continue our post-mortem of the Edo Governorship election. And right now, joining me for this conversation is Kasima Fegwa, APC Chieftain, Political Affairs Analyst. Mr. Fegwa, good evening to you. Thank you for joining us on Politics Tonight.
Good evening. Thanks for having me.
Right. So congratulations to your party. I mean, I know it must, you feel good winning this election, but the PDP has rejected the outcome of that election. Aswe Godalo calls it one of the darkest moments in Nigeria's history. Young Africa says results of the election were manipulated and that the election failed integrity test. So how do you react to these two indictments on your party?
Thank you very much for having me on this program. I don't expect PDP to say anything less because they have been preparing, thinking that they will succeed Obaseki to continue the era of Holocaust that has befallen Edo State. But now, yes, if man proposes, God disposes. So we're happy at this victory. You can see the level of tranquility in the state. You can see the calmness. You can see the joy in the faces of people. You can see the happiness. That's to tell you that the son of nobody, who they had underrated, who they mocked in different ways and manners, is what the Edo people, the authentic Edo people, want to govern them in the next 4 years. And we're happy about that. I will say congratulations to all of us who participated in that process. We carried out a rigorous campaign. 192 was 18 local governments, better than PDP and Labour Party. And so the outcome of the election was no surprise. Talking about Yaga Africa, I don't want to join issues with some very funny civil society organizations that will just sit down in Benin, monitor election in few only units here and there, and they will come and write a bogus report that will cover the entire states. I didn't see one single agent of Young Africa in my community of Okwela where I voted. I don't know how you sit back and you use perhaps maybe a report from very few polling units that you use to form an opinion on the entire outcome of the election. It's quite unfortunate. And I say this with all due sense of responsibility that Nigeria integrity test or Nigeria credible election process cannot be decreed into existence by Yaga. Yaga have their own sentiments. They share sentiments with some of these political parties and all of that. So I wouldn't want to even discuss anything Yaga. What is Yaga? I didn't see Yaga. We didn't see when we were doing coalition at the world level. We didn't see Yaga. When we were doing coalition at the local government level, we didn't see Yaga. You sit back in Benin and you just come up with a report, a damning report of the entire election process. For God's sake, even the laws specify substantial compliance, to the rules of the game. Substantial compliance, which is we should have 60%, 65%, or 70%. Fine. You can have a perfect election anywhere in the world. You cannot. Any human undertaking is subjected to some form of error, whether you like it or not. You can't have it all rosy. And so you can't sit back in one cocoon or in the city center. You didn't visit villages and local governments and you come up with your report. We have gone past this era of...
Mr. Fegwa, so what factors would you say led to the victory of the APC?
Well, so many factors. So many factors. Number one is the fact that the current governor of the state, Governor Obaseki, has been in confrontation with virtually every political actor in Edo State, the major ones. If you look at PDP and APC parades a larger chunk of the real politicians in the state. PDP was from the one factionalized. Even the candidate himself attested to that when he was campaigning. That when he came into the party, he discovered that there were 4 factions. Philip Shuabu faction, Obaseki faction, legacy group faction, the Anobi faction. And that in attempting to unite the party, he saw that the issues were more, endemic than he thought. And so, when you have a party that up to the fourth day to the election, we were still receiving defectors, what do you expect? Former Senator Ali Bikana defected. Legacy group members, a lot of them defected to us in Edo North. A lot of legacy PDP members. Deputy woman leader of PDP, Hadiza Umoru, defected. Bankole Balogun from Igara, defected. Ajoto, former speaker of Edo Assembly, defected. There are quite a number of persons in Edo North alone, not to talk about Edo South or Edo Central. When you have this kind of defection into your party, chances are that your opportunity of winning an election becomes widening. And so all you need to do is to galvanize the support base of those persons who have defected into you and ensure that they act as your own eyes at the respective polling units and wards. And so in terms of preparation, PDP was busy with internal party crisis. They were going to court every now and then, over the issue of the candidature of the PDP candidate, also Igodari. Till the election, they were still going to court forth and back. In fact, the last case was presented at the Supreme Court. So, when you have such a party that is united with its own internal dissensions, how do you expect to win? Of course, they plotted all manners of plots to make sure that the election will come their way. We shouted to the entire world how they intend to use the Edo security network. After the election, now we are seeing tags and stuffs they have prepared to act as security on the election day. The revelations are coming out.
All right, so Mr. Fegwa, so how much influence did the manner in which APC managed the affairs or the aftermath of the primaries play here?
You see, I told you in one of your programs that what makes a party thick is the fact that when you have issues or crises, you are able to use your internal machinery to nail them in the bud. After the primaries of the APC, some party members were not happy, were angry, but the leadership of the party, both at the national and at the state, were able to rally around the people, carried out a robust reconciliatory measures within the party to the extent that the candidate himself also made himself available at all of those meetings and pleaded with everyone that only one person will emerge as a candidate, just like one person has emerged as governor-elect. So, in that kind of situation, scenario of reconciliation, people are bound to, forgo whatever the issues were at the issue at the primaries. And so APC was able to put those who had gone to court, remove their cases from court, and show, copious support during the campaign. They didn't pretend about it. That is how to know a party that has its own organic structure than an amalgam of strange bedfellows masquerading as a party like the PDP, and with an Obaseki that has become like a conquistador, trying to become a democratic dictator, to every Tom, Dick, and Harry in the party. From the one when he entered PDP, he told everybody that he's not become the leader, that he chased away the aborigines of PDP, refused their positions in power. He got the deputy governor's slot, he got the commissioners, and only one person he gave commissioner from the other side. Who does that? So political power is not only about acquisition, it's also about distribution of power to all the component parts, so that you will be able to rally all the centripetal and the centrifugal forces in delivering democratic dividend. But he never did that, and he expected to win an election. You quarrel with the monarchy, you quarrel with leaders of PDP and Obi and his legacy group, you quarrel with Makatume, their market got burnt, you didn't pay them You didn't give them money to fix the market. You promised them money. You didn't give them. You are fighting. You are taxing. You are collecting ticketing from drivers union here and there. You conducted local government election, a sham election, where the winners, some of them who are winners in APC, were denied. You invited the losers to Benin. You gave them certificate of return, and you swore them in as local government chairman. 18 local governments, not even one. In a state where APC is very strong, out of 9 House of Rep members, we have 7. Labour has 1, PDP has 1. Out of 3 senators, we have 2. Labour has 1, PDP does not have. Assembly, we have 9, they have 12. Labour has 2. And yet, not one local government chairman could be pronounced winner after the elections, even when the results reflected that we won election. So why are they complaining now? Why? It suits me that APC won this election, and I'm so happy about it.
Mr. Fegwa, I'm sure you know some CSOs have called on INEC to review the results based on what was uploaded on the IREF portal. Does that bother you? Also, Governor Obaseki accused the police of waging war against the party. They said there was this federal might factor, which was meant to intimidate the opposition. And that was why about 41,000 security personnel, comprising 35,000 policemen and over 6,000 personnel from the NSCDC, were deployed for that election. It was also reported that 2 deputy inspectors general of police, 4 assistant inspector generals of general of police, and 10 commissioners of police were deployed for the election. How do you react to both instances?
If they were not deployed ab initio, I will say that there is no government in place. When the governor of a state holding an executive powers position, it was telling Edo people that election was going to be do or die. When our candidate was attacked on the 18th of July, which claimed the life of Inspector Onu Ako, the governor, rather than express sympathy to the family of the lost police officer, was threatening that anybody who tries to arrest any of his boys, that Nigeria would come on. When you have those kind of negative vibrations coming from a sitting governor of the state, what do you expect the federal government to do? To allow Edo to burn and snowball into a larger burning in the country? No. They needed to bring police in tandem with the threats that Governor Obaseki had given as a warning before the election. That's one. 2, talking about civil society and the result of IREF, I think a lot of people who are masquerading as civil society don't even know their job. For want of looking for what to do, they just carry emblem and put themselves in the position of a civil society. Results on IREF are usually posted from the polling unit, but those results from the polling unit do not reflect the actual outcome of elections at the polling unit. And the reasons are clear. When elections have been concluded at the polling unit and they are entered into the result sheets from ECOAs, the people, agents, usually want to snap and to send the result. But there is a caveat. After those results, you will do another collation at the ward level. The ward level collation gives power to the collation officer to cancel votes that do not meet the criteria, namely votes that when they observe overvoting, the law permits the collation officer to cancel them. When there are incidents of ballot box stuffing, when there are incidents of violence in a particular polling unit, at the ward level, that collation officer will do that. That means when they are dropping those votes, it will also be dropping based on what you had before. You will have lesser vote now because of cancellation and reduction. Now you move from the ward level to the local government level. That is where every result from the wards will now be table. If there are complaints by agents of parties and there are copious, examples, then the returning officer for the local government has a right to also cancel some votes. As I speak to you, in my Ward 5, we have 19 polling units. Some of the results were cancelled when we did collation, which lasted up till 11 in the night. And after they were finished, we went to Agenibode. At Agenibode, when they were reconciling those figures, they still cancelled about 3,000 plus from APC's votes in Etsako East local government where I come from. So, the result you have on IREF will naturally not be the authentic result because officers of INEC who are already acting based on the law that if there is overvoting, if there are issues within the voting area and all of that, you can cancel, will have affected the total outcome on IREF. And a lot of people don't know this. And when you try to explain to them, they say, what is an IREF? It must definitely be different because the one collation officer has the powers under the Electoral Act, maybe section 50, section 1 or 2, to tamper with those figures if there are incidents of overvoting or mutilation of result sheets or even crises of violence around the voting area and all of that. So they cannot be the same. But people are quick to jump to conclusion when they don't even know the procedure of collation of election results. If only they can wait until election results are collated at the local government level before they can post.
All right.
That will give room for unanimity in terms of figures.
All right. All right, Mr. Febwa. Let's talk about another very interesting factor. The Deputy Governor, Philip Shaibu, made history as the individual who delivered the highest vote to APC from a polling unit. Am I correct? Because from reports, APC got 1,138 votes where Shaibu voted, and PDP managed to score just 24 votes. You know, when he returned to the APC, many questioned his electoral value and loyalty. And I remember a particular conversation we had about him where you laid all the cards on the table, and truly he outdid himself. So was it worth it at the end of the day? And would you say that singular move solidified the party's victory?
Well, whoever has contributed to the success of the APC will appreciate them. But don't forget, Philip Shaibu is from the same political world as Adam Soshomu.
Okay.
And so the popularity of Adam Soshomu is overwhelming. That is not a doubt. And for the kind of injustice that Obaseki did to Philip Shaibu, that sentiment was also carried into the election. Even though ab initio with some members of the APC resisted his acceptance back into the APC fold. But popular opinion and superior logic prevail on people to the extent that we now, they now said, no, we should overlook all of this and face the onerous challenge of ensuring that we go into the election like a united family. Anybody who has 1 or 2 votes to contribute, we should accept the people. There are quite a number of persons who defected into the APC, who ordinarily would not have accepted. But even if it's just 1 vote, we needed every vote because to be able to checkmate Governor Obaseki, we needed to also behave in a way that we will see, the election process, as very, very important to us. Because the two people were yearning for change because Obaseki had already disconnected the people. Our sense of homogeneity of purpose, our cultural linkages, our central linkages, all of these were affected by hatred, political discordant tunes, and all manners of quarrels. Obaseki was just combative, fighting almost everybody in sight. And so in that kind of situation, we needed a candidate who has the subliminal humility, who is a homeboy, who also understands the intricate logic of the Edo politics by virtue of the people that represent the different geopolitical conclave within the state. And so Mondo Kwebolo comes to mind as one individual who is very sublime, humble, who has emotional intelligence, who is empathetic, and who can connect with the wishes and aspirations of the people. So those who were mocking him that he couldn't articulatively and all that. People were also replying them to say, even if he doesn't even speak at all to us, we like his composition. But today, when they were now doing campaign and he was speaking to people, they started doctoring all kinds of things. The man said insecurity, at some point they were not calling insecurity. You know, people just have their own minds made up of so many things about him. But we were resolute in our approach. We were focused. We never derail. At the end of the day, every Tom, Dick, and Harry of the APC has to be congratulated. We appreciate you all. We thank them. And this victory is for the entire Edo people.
All right.
The climate that has befallen the states, you know, is also symptomatic of the kind of person that won the election. We don't want Lagos cowboys to come and be using Edo to feast and to grow their own businesses where they have.
So, Mr. Afegwa, you know, your party, the APC has identified several challenges in Edo State and how Governor Obaseki has taken the states backwards. You all say no good roads, especially from rural to urban areas, food unavailability, no lights, and despite the government claiming to have spent $100 million on flood control, erosion management is still a challenge. So Monday Okwebole is here and he will take over in November. So as a matter of urgency, what are those critical areas he must focus on?
Like I said in one of my programs on TV, maybe with even TVC, I said, I don't envy anybody taking over from Obaseki, but it is worth, you know, taking the shot than to leave him to gladiate, you know, around the state with his choosing friends and subordinates who will cover his tracks for him. We had very recently, I think yesterday, that he had applied to the House of Assembly that he wants to proceed on 1 month leave. And we said, no. You don't have to go. You must do proper handover. And we have also used our own internal machinery to inform the relevant agencies to please watch out the airports and the land ports and the land routes and all that. We don't want anybody to escape because every couple of Edo money that has been misappropriated must be returned. We must know how much a project cost under Obaseki because they said they pride themselves as running a digital paperless government.
Mr. Afegwa, you're deviating. You're deviating. You're not answering my question. We have limited time. We have limited time.
I'm coming to that. If you know your problem, you know that there's a digital corruption, we will use digital anti-corruption to ensure that we're able to knock them off. We have roads infrastructure challenge. We have health sector challenge. We have education challenge. Their Edo worst best is Edo worst. So we are going to, you know, hit the ground running from day one, November 12, after calling in. Between now and then, I expect the governor-elect to put his team together so that from November 12, we hit the ground running. There's so much to do in Edo, so much. Flooding and erosion is key, but we will be entering into the dry season. And so the areas that will receive good attention, roads, health sector, education, and
all right, Mr. Afegwa. Yes. Sadly, we're out of time, but I'm sure we'll have another day for this conversation. Thank you for joining us, Kasim Afegwa, APC chieftain.
Join me in the celebration. Let me laugh at Obaseki.
All right, thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Afegwa. Thank you. And thank you so much for watching, everyone.